Hi, I'm Hunter. At 35, I thought I had it made at Sterling Financial Group. Corner office, six-figure salary, and what I believed was respect. Funny how things can change when you refuse to play dirty. These quarterly projections look conservative, don't you think? Jennifer dropped the report on my desk, her perfectly manicured nails tapping impatiently. They're accurate based on our current data and market trends. Well, make them less accurate. Richard needs better numbers for the board meeting. I watched her walk away, heels clicking against the marble floor. That was the first red flag, but definitely not the last. I started keeping a detailed log that day, never imagining how crucial it would become. You've got that look again. Sarah leaned against my cubicle wall, coffee in hand. We'd started at Sterling together 5 years ago, and she could read me like a book. Just our wonderful supervisor pushing for creative accounting. Jennifer giving you trouble too? Join the club, half the department's walking on eggshells. My mentor Marcus caught my eye from across the floor, motioning me over. 20 years at Sterling had given him a sixth sense for trouble. Watch your back, kid. Something's not right with these new directives. You think Richard's behind it? VP title doesn't make him honest. Lisa in HR has been unusually busy lately. 3 resignations this month. I started noticing patterns. Every report Jennifer returned needed adjustments. Always higher profits, lower risks. The requests got bolder, sloppier. Could you come to my office, Hunter? Richard's voice oozed fake warmth. We need to discuss your projection models. The corner office screamed power, awards, expensive art, city views. Jennifer was already there, smirking. Your conservative estimates are holding us back. The board expects growth. Sir, these numbers reflect actual market conditions. Then change the conditions. We need these reports to show at least 15% growth. Jennifer will help you understand our methodology. I nodded, already planning my next move. That evening I stayed late, copying emails, downloading reports, photographing documents. You're still here? Sarah looked concerned. Everything okay? Just being thorough. Hey, have you noticed anything weird about the Q3 reports? You mean besides Jennifer practically rewriting them? Marcus warned me not to sign off on anything without checking the original data. Smart man, Marcus. He'd survived 3 CEOs by keeping his integrity intact. Lisa from HR asked about you today, Sarah whispered. Said something about team compatibility reviews. I patted my laptop bag, now containing enough evidence to sink several careers. They thought I was their perfect little yes man. Time would prove them very, very wrong. The next morning, Jennifer cornered me in the break room. Those adjustments better be on my desk by noon. Actually, I have some concerns about the methodology. Your concerns don't pay shareholder dividends. Just do your job before you lose it. I pulled out my phone, secretly recording. These little interactions were gold for my growing collection. Got a minute? Sarah pulled me into the empty conference room. Check this out. She slid over a stack of reports. These are the original projections from Thompson's team. Compare them to what Richard submitted to the board. The numbers were astronomically different. How'd you get these? Let's just say Thompson's not the only one keeping receipts. Half the analysts are documenting everything. Jennifer's been making rounds, strong-arming everyone into cooking their books. Have you talked to Marcus about this? He's the one who suggested we compare notes, says this reminds him of the 08 scandal at his old firm. Later that day, Marcus caught me by the elevators. Remember Karen from External Audit? The one who left last year? She's at the SEC now. Here's her card, just in case you need a friendly ear. I slipped the card into my pocket just as Richard rounded the corner. Hunter, my office. Now. Inside his office, Jennifer was perched on the edge of his desk like she owned it. Show him, Richard barked. She slapped down my latest report. These numbers are still too conservative. Fix them or I'll find someone who will. You mean fabricate them? I mean make them reflect our company's potential, Richard leaned forward. Your attitude is becoming a problem. That evening, I met Karen at a coffee shop 3 blocks away. Everything you're describing, it's textbook securities fraud, she said, reviewing my evidence. How long have you been documenting this? 3 months. Got emails, meeting recordings, original reports versus submitted versions. Smart. Keep gathering evidence, but be careful. When they realize you won't play ball. Already happening. Lisa from HR's been hovering. Back at the office next day, Sarah grabbed my arm. Emergency meeting called for tomorrow morning. Jennifer's practically skipping. Perfect timing. Just uploaded everything to my private cloud storage. Marcus says they did this at his old firm. called in the whistleblowers for performance reviews, then fired them on the spot. Let them try. I've got copies of everything, including that doctored Q3 report Richard used to score his bonus. You're playing a dangerous game, Marcus whispered as he passed my desk. But someone's got to stop this before we all go down with the ship. I stayed late again, making final copies. Jennifer watched me from her office, phone pressed to her ear, probably plotting my professional demise. Little did she know, I'd already set everything in motion. Tomorrow's meeting wouldn't go quite as planned, at least not for them. The conference room felt smaller than usual that morning. Richard, Jennifer, and Lisa sat across from me, their faces a mix of smugness and forced professionalism. We've reviewed your recent performance, Lisa smiled with fake sympathy. Your reluctance to embrace company methodologies is concerning. You mean my reluctance to commit fraud? Richard's face turned red. Watch your accusations, Hunter. This meeting is about your inability to meet company standards. Let's be specific. Which standards? The real ones or the fabricated numbers you've been pushing? This attitude is exactly why we're here, Jennifer snapped. Your insubordination and conspiracy theories are disrupting team dynamics. Conspiracy theories? Like the Q3 reports you altered? Or the projections you inflated by 40%? Lisa slid a document across the table. We're prepared to offer a generous severance package, 6 months' salary, provided you sign this non-disclosure agreement. I glanced at the papers, fighting back a smile. This was almost too perfect. Need I remind you, Richard leaned forward, that making unfounded accusations could seriously damage your future employment prospects? Funny you should mention damage. I pulled out my phone, showing them the email confirmation from Karen. The SEC received my full report this morning, including copies of every doctored document and recorded conversation from the last 3 months. The color drained from Jennifer's face. You're bluffing. Am I? Hey, Sarah, come on in. Sarah walked in, followed by Marcus in 2 suits, Karen and her SEC colleague. What is this? Richard stood up, knocking his chair back. Mr. Wilson, I'm Agent Peters with the Securities and Exchange Commission. We have some questions about your reporting practices. You can't just barge in here, Jennifer was practically shrieking. Actually, they can, Marcus stepped forward, especially with the evidence package I've been compiling for the past year. You too, Marcus? Jennifer's voice cracked. Someone had to protect the honest employees. Sarah and I have been documenting everything since you started pushing these fraudulent reports. I'll sign your severance agreement. I picked up the pen. But I should mention, I already submitted copies of all evidence to 3 different regulatory bodies. Oh, and that non-disclosure clause doesn't cover federal investigations. Lisa frantically flipped through her papers. This meeting is suspended pending legal review. Too late, Karen smiled. We've seen enough to launch a formal investigation. Please don't leave town. Any of you. Richard slumped in his chair, his empire crumbling. Jennifer burst into tears, probably realizing her career was over. You planned this whole thing, she whispered. No, you planned it when you decided to break the law. I just documented it. Sometimes the best trap is simply letting people think they're getting away with something. I signed the severance agreement with a flourish. 6 months paid vacation while they deal with federal investigators? Don't mind if I do. 6 months flew by. I was sipping coffee at my favorite cafe when Sarah rushed in, practically bouncing. Turn on the financial news. They're covering the Sterling scandal. On the TV, Richard and Jennifer were doing the walk of shame into the federal courthouse. The headline scrolled, Sterling financial executives face federal charges in massive fraud scheme. Karma's got a mean right hook, I grinned. My phone buzzed. Marcus sending screenshots of internal emails. Check out the company-wide announcement. Sterling's board had cleaned house. Richard, Jennifer, and half the executive team were out. Lisa resigned before they could fire her. The new CEO was implementing ironclad compliance protocols. You won't believe who they promoted to head of compliance, Sarah beamed. Yours truly. First order of business. Establishing a whistleblower protection program. Look at you climbing the corporate ladder of justice. Speaking of careers, Marcus wants to meet us for lunch. Says he's got news. At our usual spot, Marcus couldn't contain his excitement. Remember my friend at Integrity Capital? They're looking for a new chief risk officer. Someone with a proven track record of ethical decision-making. They headhunted me specifically. Your name's making rounds in the industry. Not many people have the guts to take down a whole corrupt executive team. My phone kept lighting up with LinkedIn messages. Being known as the whistleblower who exposed Sterling's fraud actually helped my career instead of killing it. You should see Jennifer's sentencing hearing. Sarah pulled up the court transcript. She tried throwing Richard under the bus. Judge wasn't having it. 20 years and full disgorgement of bonuses. Marcus shook his head. Richard got 25. They're both banned from securities trading for life. A familiar face approached our table. Mind if I join? Karen sat down. Just wrapped up the last of the Sterling interviews. You'll be happy to know the evidence was airtight. Classic case study material. How's the company doing? Stock took a hit initially, but the new management's transparency actually attracted serious long-term investors. Sarah's compliance program is becoming an industry model. Sometimes you got to burn it down to build it back better. Marcus raised his glass. My phone buzzed again. Integrity Capital confirming my interview. Turned out, having a spine was marketable. Got an interesting email today, Sarah smiled. Remember Thompson? He's organizing a financial ethics conference. Wants us all to speak about spotting and stopping fraud. From outcasts to industry experts, Marcus laughed. Not bad for a bunch of troublemakers. The Cafe TV was still showing Sterling coverage. The new CEO was announcing additional reforms, including an independent audit committee and enhanced whistleblower protections. You know what's really satisfying? I watched the ticker showing Sterling's recovering stock price. They thought firing me would silence the truth. Instead, it sparked an industry-wide cleanup. To doing the right thing, Sarah raised her cup. Even when it's the hard thing, Marcus added. Especially when it's the hard thing, I smiled, watching Richard and Jennifer's mugshots flash across the screen one last time. What would you have done if you discovered your entire management team was pressuring you to commit fraud? Would you risk your career to expose the truth immediately or gather evidence secretly, like Hunter did? Some say being a whistleblower destroys your future job prospects, but this story shows another possibility. What's your take on workplace ethics versus job security? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever faced a similar ethical dilemma at work? How did you handle it? If you enjoyed this story about standing up to corporate corruption, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-world stories that explore the tough choices we face in our careers. Remember, sometimes doing the right thing isn't easy, but it's always worth it.